Alrighty, folks, welcome along to another episode of the Made to Pray podcast. This is episode 94. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Ewan. Ewan, how you doing?
Well, not too bad, Glenn. 94.
94th episode. Now, that's 94 in terms of full episodes in regards to specific guests and all, but, you know, when we count some of the bonus episodes and things that we've done, we're way over the 100 mark. But for these type of things, it's number 94. So,
brilliant.
Happy days, all good. So, me and you've been kind of having a wee bit of conversation back and forward, messenger and stuff like that there, specifically around the idea of accordion bands. And and everybody knows my absolute love for accordion bands. And I know it's my favorite genre. And but in terms of representation, I think it's very flute band heavy, and I think that reflects the scene to some degree as well. But it's always great to have people on from different types of bands and stuff like that. So maybe a good place for us to kind of start is, how did you end up getting involved with bands, and specifically, how did the accordion obsession come about?
Well, I suppose it's not really that complicated, but years ago, I was in high school, like early high school, I had got this idea that I wanted to join a band, and I really wanted to join a band, and my mum wouldn't let me join a band, but I originally wanted to join a flute band, a Blood and Thunder flute band. Like, this was my thing that I wanted to join. Like,
what band were you actually thinking of joining?
I didn't really have a band in mind, I don't think.
Okay.
When it came to flute bands, I suppose like nearby flute bands would be Downshire and different things around me. But so she wouldn't let me join anyway. So then I had this other epiphany that I would join an accordion band then. I thought she'd maybe let me join one of them. Now, bearing in mind, my man knows nothing about the band scene. Like, I've been to band parades, like, but she wouldn't know much about the inner workings of it, like. But yes, so I wanted to join an accordion band. But then I was also involved with the Ulster Scots in Market Hill. My uncle got me into it, and he was teaching the fiddle there, and I was drumming in the orchestra, and there were accordion players in there. So I would have been going on YouTube and all, listening to sort of Scottish accordion music and everything. Then this had sort of tied in for me, this idea of learning the accordion, and I'd said to mum then, like, I really want to learn the accordion, but the only way for me to learn is to join an accordion band. Still was not having it. Right, okay. My mum would not let me join a band. And this went on for months. And apparently now, well, he says this now, but my dad, apparently he was saying there, for goodness sake, just let him join a band. Like, you know, he's going to do it eventually. He's been going on for years or whatever to get joined a band. So anyway, they finally relented, and my uncle had been speaking to a woman called Alicia Dixon.
Okay.
Recently.
Friend of the podcast, Alicia, yeah.
Yes. Many people know her, Alicia Dixon Hamilton, or Alicia Hamilton, whatever. I don't know what she goes by, but Alicia Dixon's what we always call her anyway. And he had got her number because she had said that the wee Corbett band there out near Banbridge was looking accordion players. He says, funny, I know a boy's desperate to join an accordion band. This is maybe about 13 or something.
Right,
like
okay.
So that was all right. My dad got her number, and he says to me, you know, if you do well at school this year, by the time school
there's always a catch, is there?
I'll text her for you. So I was on my best behaviour, and eventually, yes, he did text her, and then joined the band shortly after that. Spent a good number of years in the Corbett, and then ended up, I went to uni. I actually did music at uni.
Right, okay.
So really the band, if I hadn't have joined the band, I wouldn't have been doing, or wouldn't be where I am now. And then I ended up in Pride of the Birches a bit after that. But I still have that close connection with the Corbett, and I was actually playing with them there on Saturday past. So.
All right, because there was a wee bit of a competition there, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll maybe talk a wee bit about that a wee bit later on, so in terms of what that was like for you. And so you're in Pride of the Birches to kind of kick things off now. So how many years do you think you were with them before you moved?
The Corbett?
Oh, the Corbett. Sorry, that's my problem.
I was in Corbett probably about 10 years or so.
Right, okay.
9 years maybe.
Right, dead on. And was university part of the reason for a switch, or what was?
I suppose, like, I always loved the Birches, and I liked their music and all that there. And I think just for me, I wanted more of a challenge when it come to the music. Though the Corbett's great. I know this is an awkward thing because I know I should all be watching this. I'm trying to be very diplomatic here. Look, the Corbett's a great band, great sound. Said at the beginning.
Disclaimer up on the screen.
I'll be telling them not to watch this. But yes, I suppose a guy was playing piano, accordion and stuff, and I just wanted more sort of a band that was playing marches and things like that.
Okay.
I suppose that was the main reason for.
What about your first parade? It's one of those things we used to do right now. Whenever the podcast started, we used to ask people about, their first parade and stuff. It's been a while since we've done that. What was your first parade like? Or how long did it take you from joining the band to actually getting to your first parade?
I joined the band. My first parade was Southdown Defenders in Newry.
Right.
And I joined the band. It was after the 12th, so it was the start or the middle of August. It was August time anyway. And I was a very big child, so I suppose I had came to learn this accordion, and I was obviously I wasn't out in the accordion by Southdown Defenders. It's the night before Black Saturday,
right?
So the last Friday in August, and I had only joined the band maybe about 3 weeks, and I was tapping my foot along to the band playing. And they were needing a bass drummer for that parade. This is me, I think 12 or 13, whatever age it was. And Jeffrey Dixon, he says to me, "Hey boy, you could play that bass drum, you're keeping in time rightly." So that was what I did for the first wee while as I ended up on the bass drum.
Oh, the bass drum.
But I think I went out with the accordion actually. I think the first parade I did on the accordion wouldn't actually have been that long after that. I think it was Bangor Protestant Boys.
Right, okay.
It is, because the Corbett used to do it. It was either that or Downchurch Band Parade, which would have been start of September time.
So you were saying it happened, you were able to get out walking with the accordion quite quickly then?
I was able to get out pretty quick. I'm nearly thinking I'm writing this, but...
so what experience had you of playing an accordion?
None.
So what you're saying is it's easy then?
Not quite. It's definitely not easy. I practiced. I practiced morning, noon, and night because I wanted to be out parading.
Right. Okay.
That was. It must have been the end of July when I joined. So probably about a month and a half. I was out in the accordion.
Right. Okay.
But I probably wouldn't have been playing like that well at that time. I'm not really sure.
But I mean, if you're well enough for them to let you loose in terms of being out on parade and stuff, you must have been all right. 'Cause, you know what I mean?
Do you know, I was desperate to get out. Like I was so happy whenever. Yeah. But I remember that feeling of the first when I was on the bass drum. I don't think it was. Well, I can't really remember what I was feeling then. But it was when my first parade in the accordion. I was absolutely cacking myself.
Right, okay.
Don't want to use a swear word there.
Oh, you're all good. So you're all good there, yeah.
I was absolutely cacking myself. I remember that feeling of the nerves of not wanting to make a mistake.
Yeah.
But also loving it. Like, you're nearly so excited that you're...
No, I mean, it sounds very familiar to me, because it sounds very much like, first parade for myself, you know what I mean? I remember it, as if it was yesterday, to be honest with you, and having that kind of sense of pride and the uniform on and everything, you know what I mean? Really making a big deal out of it and stuff for yourself, and you can tell just from listening to how you put that across there in regards to your first parade.
And like, obviously, I'm in the Birches now, but the Corvette will always hold that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I was out with the Birches for the first time, I didn't really feel that sort of same, wow, this is, well, obviously I did think they're great and all that, and they are a good band, but it's not that, when you're just new to bands, you're new to parading, that sort of, this is brilliant, this is class, I love that.
Yeah.
That's the feeling, and the Corvette still hold those memories for me, so that's what me trying to make up for that. Trying to explain my jump to the Birches there.
Okay. So that was you. You remember a wee bit about your first parade, and then obviously you make the switch. So you made the switch over the Pride of the Birches, and that obviously changes things in terms of your playing ability and stuff like that. Were you conscious that your playing ability increased as a result of being a part of that band, or were you already heading in that direction?
Because I had went and did music at university, I had sort of, and I was mainly traditional accordion music that I was playing whilst I was there. So through that, I had improved my playing ability quite a bit. But then, yes, definitely the birches and accordion band music, like that sort of that higher level of accordion band music, sort of its own style. So I nearly had to like learn that as well. But definitely because I'd been at uni and my ability had sort of already been
developing, yeah. Okay.
You know, it didn't take me long to sort of click into that way of playing, like, but I've definitely learned a lot from being in the band.
How much did university influence your life in the band? In terms of, obviously, if you're there studying music and things, you know, how much?
It didn't really, like, I never really changed my opinion on the band, you know, like, the band, like, whenever I was...
There'll be just in terms of, you know, you obviously, you write music, you read music, or whatever, you're able to score some stuff and all that.
Oh, yeah, well, like, I was able to, even for Corbett, and then I've written I've written a wee march for the Birches there, and done
we original, yeah. Oh, very good.
Well, it is, but Sacred March, so it's using 2 already existing hymn tunes and sort of putting them together with the parts of it. But okay, I've been able to write band scores and all with the skills that I got from university. I'd started to do that before I went to uni. But,
right, okay.
To be honest with you, you know, it's like music degree. It's what does it say? Is a license to flip burgers for the rest of your life.
Okay, right, okay. So anybody's looking at a job in Chick-fil-A, you know. And so
but look, I wouldn't. It was a brilliant experience, and it has definitely upped my game when it came to the bands. Like,
so talk to me about what's life like in Pride of the Birches now for you. How would you describe band life at the moment?
Okay, I love it. I love being on it. Like, the Birches is extremely active. It's an extremely active band. The Corbett was also very active, but like the Birches is sort of like next level. I would think you would struggle to find another band who's out more. Yeah. In the last
year, from Castledurg, Young Loyalists are everywhere.
Well, I do see them quite a bit, in fairness. from Kilkeel to Ballinamalard.
Yeah,
seen them. In
they must put the miles in. They really do put the miles in.
Well, that's like what West Fermanagh and east side of Down.
Yeah, exactly.
Two sides of the country, like.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was, obviously, Pride of the Birches were in my homeland. Yeah. Recently, you were there for the Canadian 12. Talk to me a bit about what that was like. Talk to me a bit about the preparation. Is it the first time the band's been there? Have you used it before? Used it before?
No. First time.
Okay, dead on. So talk to me about how that. One, how it came about, and two, what the experience was like trying to get out there. Because obviously, I imagine trying to transport accordions and all of your instruments and stuff whenever you're making that trip could be a bit of a logistical nightmare. So talk to us about that experience. Be great.
Well, I think the story, I think it went a wee bit like this. Ruth, who's the conductor of the band, so she sort of sorts out the band's music and that. She said to the secretary, which is Jill, she said about the Canadian 12th, I'd love to go over to Canada and take part in the 12th there. And I don't know, Jill must have liked that idea, because the next thing she came back with a whole, like, this is how we're going to do it, this is how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
So it was just an idea of one person, sort of, as she would say, she planted a seed, and like, it just, everyone went with it. And do you know what, the build up to it, I think we spent about 2 years preparing for it, fundraising, flipping, what else, like, you know, just getting ready for it. There's actually two members of the band who had family over there.
Right.
Neil and Lisa, they had family over there, and we were able to go to their house in a place called Embro.
Right. Okay.
If you're tell of it, it's near London, Ontario.
Yeah.
But we were able to go there for a barbecue and some of the rest of them.
That's quite a trip down from Toronto. Is that where you were staying? We staying in there?
No, we're staying in Toronto. But
you stayed in Toronto? That's quite a trip down. London's a wee bit of a drive down, like, sort of.
Took about, I would say, an hour on a bus to get to Embro.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant.
London's a lovely wee spot.
We played in a church there. So we did. We played in a church there in Embro. And then we're at Jim and Daphne's then for a barbecue. Some of the rest of them went for a tour around the farm, whereas I decided to stay at the pool.
Right, okay.
With a few refreshments, and I think there's a video of me on a rogue blow up unicorn going away somewhere. And if anyone's got it,
we'll get that put into the outro here. So well, if someone has that there, forward it my way, please.
But yeah, no, it was brilliant. Like, say, the whole lead up to it and everything, and then go. It's probably the best trip I've ever been on.
Yeah. So what about in terms of obviously getting the instruments across? Did you would have had to have made some special arrangements in terms of getting those?
Well, I mean, a lot of the accordion people are probably going to cringe, but we actually brought them onto the plane with us.
What?
So we put the piano accordions into the hold,
right?
And the
was oversized luggage or something like that. There was it? Or?
Yeah, as like fragile luggage or that. No, we did have. Yes, they were down as like a special type of luggage. Like they weren't just getting lobbed in, but then the button accordions went into the plane, into the cabin.
Right.
Which, if they're in the cabin, like they'd be all right. But we had to. The lead up to it, we had to just the night before. We had to open up the accordions. Take out or sort of block off the bass, the left hand, all the buttons. This is on piano accordions. Put a bit of card up so that all the buttons wouldn't fall down in and stuff. I think that's all we did. And then put bubble wrap and different bits of soft things around them in the case. Like, do you know what? They were all right.
Okay.
We took a bit of a risk, but they were okay. Yeah, and we'd prepared them.
Because that's what puts some people off in regards to maybe doing that type of trip. Now I know, like one of the bands from the Govan, is it Govan Protestant Boys or whatever? Yeah. One of those have definitely done a few trips across. I
know they were over the year before us.
Yeah, they've done a few. They've done a whole pilot. There's videos of them walking over the Golden Gate Bridge and all this kind of stuff, and coming down the escalators in a shopping centre and all this kind of stuff, But so some people, the travel arrangement may put them off, and I think maybe for a flute band, the only thing you're really talking about is drums, really, and the bass drum being a massive, maybe an issue there, because obviously flutes can go in your, you could take out in your hand,
like it's no problem. Like side drum into the plane.
No, they'd have to go onto the hold and stuff. But what was the parade actually like? What was it like actually parading in Toronto?
Well, do you know what? We were we got unlucky because there was works going out. What do you call the big main street in Toronto?
Yonge Street.
Was it Yonge Street? With an A.
That's the longest street in the world, yeah.
It was. Yonge Street there was a lot of works going on down on it, so they had to move the parade route.
Right.
You were you're still in the city, but it was more sort of
outskirts of it,
the city centre.
Okay.
So in that respect, it wasn't as good, I suppose, as other years, but that was what the Orange Men had told us and other Canadian bands told us. That there wasn't the same crowd, obviously, as there would have been. Like, it's not like walking down Portadown Main Street or in Scarva. Like, really, there was nobody watching you. But the Orange Men and the other bands, great crack, so hospitable. They loved us being over there, and we got a great reception, and because they play a few. They
have a wee indoor section, don't they? Yeah.
Yes. Afterwards, I have to say, we're not really used to parading in that sort of weather. It was 37 degrees.
Brilliant crack.
On the day that we were,
I can imagine.
We were parading. And obviously, you're carrying a 2.5 stone accordion. It's not just like carrying flute. And then I'm also carrying flipping about 19 stone here on the front as well. So I was sweating quite a bit, like quite profusely, but not as bad. I had got, because it was on the second last day. It was on the Saturday. We arrived on the Monday. This was on the Saturday. So I had sort of gotten used to the heat and the humidity by then. But still struggling a bit.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I would have liked.
It's one of those things. I mean, I know I've said it a few times on the podcast. I was supposed to do the Canadian 12th in, I think it would have been 2020, because I think that would have been the 200th 12th then, and then obviously the joys of COVID and all that there put a bit of a stop to that. And then I was over recently, and I feel like a broken record on here sometimes, but it was over last July, sort of August time, and I was over at a conference. I was actually working in Washington, but I went and seen family and stuff before I flew down to Washington, and I had a guy I know from Toronto phone me and say, listen, here's a parade on such and such, I can't remember the name of the town, but it was a wee bit outside Toronto, and I was staying down in St. Catharines, just near Niagara. And I goes, well, what time's the parade kick off at? And he goes, about 9:30 in the morning. I was like, mate, that's going to take me like 3.5 hours to get from where I am to where you are.
Sunday parade or something?
Yeah, I thought it was. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was. I think, oh, listen, I've got limited time with the family here, so I think I'll just. I appreciate the offer, and at some point I will do it. Like at some point I'm going to do it, and I will. And even if it means guesting with someone or something along those lines, I think I'll do it, because just for me, the idea of walking a parade in my home country is. It'd be a massive thing for me. The idea just even now just hit me going, wow, that would just be unbelievable. So there's a wee touch of jealousy here in terms of
it was phenomenal. There was other parades going on at the same time we were over there, because I'll never remember the town names, but we had been approached by I think a couple of people. But as you say, it's the show. It's not like Northern Ireland where if you say there's a parade in Banbridge, do you want to come to Lisburn to parade?
Yeah.
It's like that's 20 minutes up the road.
It's not like that at all.
There's a parade in Toronto. Do you want to come to wherever? It's 3.5 hours away. So it's only up the road.
I know. And for those guys, it's nothing, because there used to be a heck of a lot more bands there as well. And it's not the band scene to what it was maybe 25, 30 years ago to what it is now. How many bands were it? Maybe 7, 8 or something like that? 6?
There was 6 Canadian bands, as far as I remember. Because there's no accordion bands now parading.
No, there's not. There used to be accordion bands, and then I think there used to be a flute band in a wee town called Bramalea. And then I know there's that wee outfit, the Cambridge Crown Defenders that are there, and stuff. Graham, who runs that band, he's actually moved here now. Yes, he's now living in. He's living in Ballymena or Hackle or somewhere like that there. So I think his family down there. I think that's where his family originally were
Toronto
from there. From Cambridge to Hackle. I mean, if you're going to make a journey, like who could exactly? I mean, let's give up this 37-degree heat for a Hackle. So, but Graham, if you're watching, man, I hope you're doing well. But listen, man, I seen the videos of you doing the indoor thing. And it was evident they absolutely loved you. They loved you.
They did, and do you know what? They were the whole time. Like we played in a Rangers club as well. If I'm remembering right, it was a night or two before the parade itself. But do you know what? Those guys, like Andy and that, like they were just there. They were so friendly, and they really were.
They love it.
I mean,
this is the thing. You know what I mean? Whenever I watch some of the videos and stuff of the Canadian 12, because I always check it out just to see what the story is, you know, in terms of what's going on and stuff. And just, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of some of the way the ladies and the lodges and all going on. It's like throwback to like maybe the early 80s here. Do you know what I mean? Yes. We're all dolled up to an edge. And I'm not saying people don't get dressed up here, because they do. But just the way... The love hearing the size, the love hearing all this stuff, where that's kind of lost a wee bit of its pizzazz for us in terms of that. You know, it doesn't have the same kind of ring for it.
We do it every week, though.
Yeah, but you can see them just loving that whole thing, and it's just this idea of, and I use the word probably, you know, that they're clutching on to their culture, because it's something that has deteriorated quite considerably in terms of, I think the visual expression of the culture in Canada has definitely, you know, it's got minimalised a wee bit. Now, I know the Orange out there is on a wee bit of a surge, you know, the membership in terms of the Orange over there. I think, you know, Mark Aiken has a lot to do with that. Mark's a good guy. And one of the things I was really surprised at whenever I was at my sister's, one of my sisters lives in a place called Thorold, and round the corner from her house is an Orange Hall. I was like, wow, what's going on here? So, so there is that kind of, you know, resurgence in the Orange, and I think that's great, you know, that there's that element of people trying to connect with it. We just need the musical side of it to kind of get a wee bit of a boost as well, because I think, you know, especially with there being that expat kind of community there, and people who then have had kids and stuff there, you know, and trying to keep that alive. You know, I suppose we're in
it's a lot of the same problems that we have.
On a completely different scale, because I often joke around, because my godparents obviously live in Canada, and I remember seeing a video of them. They were playing the old Albert Bridge accordion record, you know, was it?
Yes.
It's like Onward to the Field, or to the field and back, or something. One of those ones anyway. It's the
on
one
Apple
with the
Music if you want to listen
What's
to it when
that?
you're driving home. It's on Apple Music if you want.
Well, then I appreciate that. I appreciate the recommendation there, but no, you're all right. But they were playing that, and they have, you know, their son Mark and his wife and the kids and all are dancing around the living room with the Albert Bridge accordion band playing on in the background. Like, you know, I have no clue, really. You know, some of these have no clue what that's about and stuff. You know, I'm sure Mark, I'm sure Paul does. But you just see people trying to keep a hold of some level of their culture. Yes. My godparents, Anne and Jim, have been out there for, my God, since just before I was born. Like, you know what I mean? So they're fully, you know, immersed in terms of Canada now and stuff. You know what I mean? They still have the twinge of a Northern Ireland accent and stuff, you know, but which is great. But you know, again, it's another example of people trying to keep some level of connection to something that means something to them, and I suppose any connection to home is welcome. Do you know what I mean?
And obviously, like, you know, my level of knowledge when it comes to the Orange. Well, I think there's Black and Apprentice Boys in Canada too, isn't there?
I think there is. I don't think it's as prominent as, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't think it's as prominent as the Orange there. Do you know what I mean? In terms of that there, I don't think it's as, you know.
Definitely, in the Apprentice Boys is difficult if you're not living here in Northern Ireland, because to be in the Apprentice Boys, you have to
club and all that there,
or whatever. But anyway, like, I wouldn't know that much really about it, apart from going over, and then I've done a bit of research and stuff into it. But like, I think it's the same as here in a way. Like, the general public's opinion, it's probably worse there, I would say. Like, the general public wouldn't really be into the Orange, or have a misconception about it.
I suppose that's like any word, do you know what I mean? If you don't understand something, or is portrayed a certain way, do you know what I mean?
There was a couple of people, passers-by, who did actually shout abuse at the parade, which I was quite surprised at, because I sort of thought...
But that's the multicultural aspect in terms of the multi-ethnicity. In terms of Canada, you know, you're obviously going to have, you know, it's not like here you've got an absolute smorgasbord of, you know, different, you know, ethnic groupings and stuff like that there. Do you know what I mean? It's very culturally very, very different and stuff.
Yeah.
Generally, Canada comes across very more tolerant than most, but I mean, you know, but it's definitely one of those things. I wish there was more I could do in regards to that. I'd love to have gone out and done some podcasts and stuff there. I mean, that's one of the things that I really wanted to do one of the last times I was out, was just to take some equipment over with me and just try and meet up with some people and do some podcasts, because I did have Graham on. The podcast, me and him did a Zoom call and put that, because I wanted to feature the fact that there are bands out there in Canada, and I've tried to get Mark on as well. That's something I need to follow up again and get Mark back on again.
To see a resurgence over there, especially in terms of the bands, as you're saying, like, you know, I'd love to see.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think so. So, man, absolutely love that. Absolutely jealousy hanging out of me here in terms of the fact that I haven't got the parade.
Next time, you can come.
Yeah. Well, I'll come and do something. I'll drum for you or something like that. There, if you're going out again, not a problem. But one of the reasons I wanted to get you here as well was not just to talk about this and the Canada thing. That's been obviously advantageous for me, and maybe a wee bit on the self-indulgence side there. But we want to talk about this group that you're involved in, which is Ulster Accordion Band. So talk to us a wee bit about what is it, what's it about, how did it all come into existence, what's the story?
So I suppose it all came about just because I had sort of thought of an idea. I'll start a Facebook page that is accordion band centric. So it's only focusing on the accordion band side of the band scene. Because I sort of felt, and I don't know what you think of this, but I sort of feel sometimes that the accordion band sector is kind of ignored in a way, or it's not really, you wouldn't hear as much about the accordion band scene as the other types of bands, like,
It depends, man. It depends where you are in the country. I think when you're here in Belfast, I mean, obviously, the amount of accordion bands in Belfast has decreased considerably over the years and stuff. I mean, I remember, walking an Easter parades. I remember my first parade, every other band was an accordion band. There was the membership. Now I think in East Belfast, anyway, I think we're down to three. I think
three.
So I think we've got with the Parkinson, the Lord Carson, and the Albert Bridge. I think somebody could stand to correct me if there's any more, but that's the three that I can think of. When you look at them, probably not the biggest in terms of memberships, because the Albert Bridge used to have a massive membership.
Yeah, and I would say, and I don't mean this, and if there's anyone from any of those bands listening, but I'm talking about accordion bands across the board here too. A lack of younger people joining.
Although Ballymachak could have a wee word with you about that, wouldn't it?
They have quite a bit. But also in County Armagh and in South Down, which is sort of, I would nearly say, is sort of like one band scene, accordion bands are doing very, very well at the minute due to multiple factors. But Ulster Accordion Bands, I just started it as a Facebook page just to promote. And I did a wee bit at the start of like Band of the Week, which is just a way to promote individual bands, say about the history. Kind of like what you're doing, but just with bands, and I just wrote it. It was sort of like an essay rather than interviews.
Okay.
So the interview's probably easier in terms of I was
tell you what, get yourself a wee podcast going.
But you can come down and podcast all of us here in the 2nd of May. But I was doing a bit of that, and I'd actually sent a couple of them to the Ulster Gazette in Armagh, and they were getting featured for a while. But I sort of stopped that. I'd done maybe 8 of them or 6 of them or something like that. That was way at the start. Also did a wee bit of archiving in terms of music and tunes. So I've got a load of recordings because I think
that's important too. I think, in terms of preserving the heritage, that's an important aspect. So good on you.
Well, a girl I know is a bit of a hoarder when it comes to accordion band music, who's in our band too, and she had ripped a load of the tapes off for me.
Right, okay.
I've stuck them up, but they're on YouTube, a lot of them.
Very good.
There's some that I still haven't got.
There's not like a website or anything of that type of stuff, because I know that's one of the things that we had looked at for a while was, could we find, a load of those tapes, digitize them and stick them up on a website or something for posterity's sake, in terms of being able to get a hold of that, because there's a lot of stuff that's been lost to the scene in terms of, because you think that early 80s period where it was just prolific amounts of recordings being done.
Yes, and a lot of in accordion bands, like original tunes, as you say, original marches and stuff. But anyway, I'd got those, and they're up on YouTube. You can look them up. It's Ulster Accordion Band YouTube if you want to. Again, if you want to listen to them.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I'll help me get to sleep tonight.
Add them to your playlist. But yes, so I started up that, and then how did I suppose we had been going to, or I'd been going to a few parades and then at the end, a few accordion players had just started playing a few tunes together from different bands, and I thought this would be great just to get a night for this. Just tunes together, just shouting one out, just playing, bit of crack and all. Sort of community building, And I had the idea then to have the session night then, and in Market Hill was the very first one, on the 7th of July 23, I think it was. The first one's just a couple of years ago, nearly now. And that night, a lady out of John Hunter, Sharon Andrus, I have to give her a personal shout out. She had the idea to bring her projector and put music up for everybody now. Because originally I was just going to just play it all. We're just playing all by ear, but that turned out to be a great idea. And then sort of a formal session night, if you like, was born, and we had a good, I think, with 40 accordion players or so there that night. And then the committee took people from that night and formed a committee. It's sort of grown from there. It's like it's into like sort of an events and advocacy group for accordion bands, like a lobbying group, So, but the ethos of it, and really, I know we do our session nights, and I've had a couple of bigger events, or I've had one bigger event, and there's going to be another one on the 2nd of May. I shouldn't say I, because it's we, not just I. But really, the main thing and the ethos of it is to promote accordion bands and also to promote like community building, bring us all together for a bit of crack. Because you know what, one of the worst things about accordion bands before was, I don't know if I can use this word, but it's the amount of bitching. You can bleep that out if you want.
Don't mean if you feel free enough to say that, then happy days.
No, but like, do you know what? Most people, I would say, would agree before, but that has sort of turned around now.
Okay.
And a lot more people know each other now because of all this, and they enjoy each other's company and their friends, and it's great, and that's positive for the band scene and for our community in general. That's going to encourage more people to come. And
yeah. So what's the idea behind the session nights? This is just a bunch of drummers, accordion players just coming together and just playing through like a list of tunes just for the sake of it, just having a wee bit of a wee.
So a session night is sort of like people come, they're advertising the Facebook. We have a thing at the door where you can write a tune on it if you want to play a specific tune. Normally people don't put what key, but something because it's not like the flute where you can only play in like 2 keys. You can play in no offense, like you can play in multiple keys in the accordion.
You do know you can play more than 2 keys on the flute.
Well, yes, as long as it has more than 1 key.
Yeah.
But oh no, maybe I'm wrong actually about that over here. Like no, but.
Well, there tends to be a domination in regards to D and G in regards to keys, but we can't play another keys.
But yes, so they can write tunes and that, and then we'll just basically pick them. So everything that we're playing has been chosen, and we'll start by the people who are there. And we'd also, the first night it was just hosted by myself. I got a few people to bring some biscuits and stuff like that. But then following that, the second one ever was hosted by John Hunter. Was I hosted? Basically, that's where we're in conjunction. We go to where that band's from is the main thing.
There's somebody like comparing the night then, is that what the whole idea behind?
So I do that part. I do the the talking and the leading the session, but because we Ulster Accordion bands in our group would do like the music side of things and talking and keeping the night flowing, and then the band we'd pay for the hall rental. The band will provide a supper or tea, biscuits, sandwiches. We've had soup. There's no real it's
okay. So
you're not gonna have a sit down meal.
Yeah. But so it's a social. It's almost like a bit like a social. Yeah.
And then we'll give the.
How many of these have you had? How many of these?
We've had Market Hill, Mount Norris. We didn't exactly travel far between those two. Market Hill, Mount Norris. It's only about 4 miles away. Randallstown. That was Staffordstown. Lochbrickland, which was Ardara.
Right.
Who are from River Island, and we had their one in Lochbrickland.
What was the one after Ulster Day? What was the one after Ulster Day?
What one was it now?
What was that? Because I was talking to Alicia, she had invited me down to one. She was saying, why did you come to this one?
Was that? Yes. Well, we had Agerstown in April of last year. Kilkeel, Schomberg. Was that Ulster Day one then? Was that?
Was it one? I think was it after that there? It was just after Ulster Day. Aye.
Would have been Banbridge one. Yeah. It was in September time.
Yeah.
Or October time.
Well, October would have been the next one, because I think it was like, was it like a 24th of October or something like that there?
Yeah. That was Banbridge, and Corbett had that one. And then,
well, that makes sense if she was inviting me down there. So,
then with Maeve McCullen had one.
Who's she? Nobody.
Tandragee. And then we had Kilnady all the way up in County.
That's another one of them made up town names, isn't it? That's Kilnady. There's no work out.
Eden Accordion Band in Kilnady. It was a brilliant night, and do you know? So we've been in County Londonderry, County Down, and County Armagh and County Antrim.
Right.
So we just need Fermanagh and Tyrone.
Right. Okay. Well, for man on throne, if your people are out there, let's get something sorted out there. Here's me inviting people along to an accordion event, and I can't even get them on to myself.
Well, we've had people from those counties, but we need bands to come and host one.
I'd host one. No, don't know what I mean. I was when I don't know what was the story in regards to, because obviously Elise was like, why don't you come down and have it? And I was like, going, no worries. If I can make it down, I'll definitely get down and do it. I think it may be useful for us to do a wee bit of coverage like that and come down and be a part of that.
Definitely find a lot of interesting people at them.
Yeah. No, and I'm waiting for. I would be waiting for people to lynch me because obviously there's a line of people who do just in terms of the slagging I give the accordion bands and stuff. You know what I mean? So,
we can take it. We can take it.
Well, okay. No, but I think it's great that you're doing something that because what it sounds to me like is you're almost trying to do a larger scale version of what I consider accordion bands to be doing within their own local community anyway. For me, and we were talking about this prior to recording as well, was this idea that when the band in the village that they're from plays a very important role, or the town that they're from, or whatever it happens to be, plays a very important role there, that if it's a major outlet in regards to social connection and all that kind of stuff. People are involved in all aspects of it, even if they're not a member of the band. The families get well involved and stuff, for the best part anyway. And I think if you're doing something on a larger scale like that, where you're trying to say, well, listen, why don't we all come together, and increase the level of our connection? Because I think because one of the things that really stands out for me in regards to that is, especially after COVID, and I hate keeping the reference, but for me, the impact that's had on us in terms of community, and as a country, I think being able to connect with people and value the connections that we have, and enhance those connections, I think it's extremely important for us. Not just for our culture and our heritage, but for our mental health and stuff as well. Being able to stay grounded and having people in our lives that we know we can rely on, and know that there are people that you can reach out to, is an extremely important part of keeping ourselves kind of level and balanced. And I suppose for me, the idea of connecting to calm, the idea of being, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're on your own and not having anybody to reach out to and stuff. Yes. And I think, that the bands give a massive outlet for that there, and I think that the impact that it has on mental health and its ability to impact mental health in a positive sense is underplayed a lot, you know what I mean? And I think if you were to look at the things, like even when you look at the Take 5 kind of thing, I mean, you look at that, and the bands mean all of that, you know what I mean? And I think it's about time we started really heavily emphasizing that side of things and changing, I suppose, how we promote the stuff. And it's fun. I feel like I broke a record with the last episode. We talked about that too,
You're right, and yes, it's good for us as a community. Like, look, I'm not perfect, of course, and I think and say things I shouldn't do all the time. But look, this I feel like for me, it's bringing accordion bands closer together, and hopefully it's also having an impact on just the band scene in general. Yeah. But a lot of bands now know each other. They're able to help each other out and support each other, and we're not round and fighting and everything. And that's the big thing. Why would we round and fight when we're doing what we love?
Well, this is the thing, man. But I think anything that brings us closer together is major benefit for us in the whole, and I think it's important to make sure that we follow through with that it just doesn't become just these wee events and stuff, that that it grows in some shape or form. So what are you kind of hoping for in terms of going forward in the future? Obviously you're thinking about hitting the other two counties and stuff like that, but where do you see things going?
Well, that's for the session night. Like last year we had a big, I don't know if you've seen it, it was a cultural and historical day in Portadown in St. Columbus, and there was a session night that night, which Ackerstein hosted.
Right, okay.
But I'm remembering back, I think we had maybe 12 or something different bands playing throughout the day, and then we had a load of bands, there was like 25 bands or something, did stalls, or wee displays.
Right, okay.
Of like their band history. Like there were some really, really good ones.
Just all accordion bands, yeah?
All accordion bands, yes. About their band's history, and basically as a way to highlight
about that,
the history and the culture that goes along with bands. And we even had a stall from our stall, a display from Tully McCann Accordion Band, who was actually
where?
From Andrew.
Tully McCann.
Tully McCann. Right. They were folded in 2003.
Right.
So it was really, really nice having their uniform there, and a few pictures of them from ex-members had brought that along. And we had Muller Brackett did a lovely one. That's Margaret Hill, if you've heard of Muller Brackett Accordion Band. Yeah, they've actually been to your parade a few times. And Pride of the Raven. They had a lovely stall about, it was about what being in a band means to me, and what the band does for their members. So like, it was nice to be things like that, and it was let us show off, you know.
I love those ideas. I love hearing about, you know, giving people the opportunity to connect with the history and the heritage and see beyond. We talked a lot about this, about seeing beyond the uniform, seeing beyond the parade, and finding humanizing things, I suppose, you know, getting to the people that ultimately make bands what they are, do you know what I mean? And if you can connect with that, and I think maybe putting on stuff like that is also maybe a good recruitment kind of thing, you know. And recruitment's a big thing for all bands, I think, you know. And I think
positive promotion too.
Yeah, but it's positive promotion. But I think, you know what, see the personal connection, I think that works a hell of a lot better than a Facebook post. And I know Facebook and social media is all part of that, but I do think that, you know, reaching out and giving people the opportunity to either get involved and find out, you know, what you're up to and all that there makes a bigger difference than just here's a poster that we've put up on the come down and check it out. Because people, you know, if they do have preconceptions and what am I walking into, what is this going to be like, and then you before you know it, you've talked yourself out of potentially going to something. Whereas if you're all there in front of people, you know, and you can make that kind of sense, well, those people are actually dead on, and you end up finding that makes so much more positive impact in terms of, hey, would you get involved with something, and then more chance of saying yes.
Yes, exactly. And well, I suppose for us, like, you know, it's not even that I want Ulster Accordion bands to grow or anything. This is all just for the benefit, for everyone's mutual benefit. This is for, as an accordion band community, this is for all of our mutual benefit. And like, you know, I'm not saying that we all have to love each other and everyone has to think I'm great or anything. It's nothing to do with me, but it's to do with us, you know, and building our community, and, as you say, building on our relationships, bringing more people in, younger people. Because if we don't do that now, and we can't even get on with each other, how are we going to get more people in?
Well, this is the thing, you know, and I think, you know, I think this is one of the issues, and we should probably do an episode around this, around some of the issues that are facing the band scene, and maybe things that we could be doing in terms of trying to, you know, address those kind of things, is definitely the younger generation on the whole. I'm not saying that that's a blanket statement across the whole of the country, because there are some places where there are lots of young people that have got involved with their local bands or their local, you know, in some areas the junior orange is going through a revival in some areas and stuff, you know, and really, you know, be great to hear what they've been doing in terms of trying to grow that as well. But I think there are certain areas where they say there's so many things vying for the attention.
Yes.
And the bands just don't seem to be up there for people, because, you know, why would I want to go and walk around the streets playing an instrument or whatever? Do you know what I mean? When I can sit in here and talk to people across the world on my PlayStation or on my Xbox or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
That just sounds like, I know, my idea of hell would be sitting on the PlayStation.
Would you be like mine, sitting in a room full of accordions?
I'd be loving that. More through parading and all. Getting out. Do you know the best thing about those nights for me is the best bit about those nights is even more than the music. It's all the other people. It's the talk. It's a bit of crack, a bit of banter, and, you know, just enjoying ourselves. And I've met so many new friends over the last couple of years doing this. And some people would say the same thing. I know actually a man who, I'll not use his name, but he's been a big supporter of this. And his wife had actually passed away around the start of all this stuff. And he had said that this has really changed his life, and this has been so positive for him. And he's not actually in a band. He was in a band before, but this has been an outlet for him to be able to get back into that sort of hobby without having to sort of be parading all the time and all. And he's been a brilliant supporter.
Well, that's maybe not something you maybe thought of in regards to this, but I mean that's a real positive in terms of a benefit for someone to be
sort
able
of
to
ties into what you were saying about the mental health.
mental health thing. Oh, completely did that, because grief's a funny thing, isn't it? Well, not a funny thing, but in terms of how we cope with grief, some people overcompensate by being so much around people that they, and then some people will withdraw and stuff as well. You know what I mean? And that's just it. Depending on who we are as people, will kind of an impact on how we do that. But having avenues to get involved or having opportunities to be involved is sometimes you don't know where to turn sometimes. And the fact that you have created an opportunity for someone to say, well, listen, hey, I need to get involved with something, but life goes on here. And, and if there's something here that I can connect to that keeps me, I'm sure part of that almost keeps the spirit of his wife alive to some degree. The fact that he's out about and connecting with people and stuff, because he's carrying those memories around with him and stuff. You know what I mean? I get that. You can never underestimate the power of some of the stuff that we're doing. Even if you think it's the smallest thing, for someone it could be the most massive thing for them, and you just don't know. And it's so I'm never quick to write anything off, and I kind of go, someone's got an idea, you know what, go for it. See if it helps some people or if it really benefits them. Knock yourselves out, go for it, and let's see what we can do for each other, because do you know what, you really do want people to turn up for you as well, because you're kind of part of this. It's not selfish in the sense that you're doing it for other people, but you're knowing that, hey, I want to do that because I'd like to think that someone might do this for me. And I think that's so important in our lives to think, that I think, and without getting too philosophical, we need to know what matter.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's so important in our lives and stuff. So what's coming up in the not too distant future?
Well, this year is going to be quite busy, I think, as well as last year. But we have another session night, which is, what date is this? 12th of March. So this on the 28th of March. So it's a couple of weeks away yet, in Dramara, Finnis Accordion Band. And the guys from Finnis, they have been at all of our session nights, I think, since we had our first one. And they're actually only back on the road last year.
Right.
After being off the road for a while. That's the band from Dolly's Bray. If you ever heard of Dolly's Bray, that's where they come from. But it actually says it in their bass drum. So it's great to be able to go and support them whenever they're only back out. And they're doing really, really well, which is brilliant.
And given the location as well, from a historic point of view,
Yes. And even though it's quite rural, but you know what, they've got a good band going. So they have over the last year or two, from the set it back up. Then after that, what do I have? We have on the 2nd of, I don't know if this is wise or not, but the 2nd of May and the 3rd of May, sort of over 2 days, because we're having a 24-hour boxathon is what we've been calling it, but it's basically a 24-hour accordion marathon. Now I have you a stall space reserved to come and sit 24 hours of accordion music. We'll give you a quad space for your podcast.
Noise cancelling headphones or something. No.
But look, it's so what it's going to start off like. It's all for charity. So it's for Light of Foot.
Right. Okay.
And for Cash for Kids. So 2 charities.
Brilliant.
So it's a big fundraiser just to give back to.
Right. And where's this taking place?
In St. Columba's in Portadown.
Okay. Great.
So what it's going to be, it starts at 8 o'clock, 2nd of May. We'll be having a session for the first couple of hours. So that's just for anyone to come in and join. And then all the way through.
So we've got like slots where people are playing and stuff. Okay. Like
and on Saturday, there's a lot of bands, like full bands will be playing on the Saturday during the day.
But you've got slots where it's maybe individuals as well.
Yes,
yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, especially through the night, because we have to fill those spaces between midnight and that's the bit I've been finding harder to cover.
Yeah,
24 hours, and I'm near sure we can get it pulled off, because actually the Saturday is nearly all full.
Right. Okay. Wow.
So we've really at all full apart from the morning time.
Right. Where'd that come from? How did you? What made you kind of think here? Could we put something on for 24 hours?
Actually, just it was the sort of in my line of work. Like I was up getting stuff off Cash for Kids, for families at Christmas time, and I seen all the great work that they do and the amount of stuff that they had for disadvantaged children in Northern Ireland. And also, I suppose that shows how generous we are as a society. Like, and I sort of thought, you know what, it'd be really, really nice to do something for these guys as a band scene, because it's going to have the added benefit of the positive promotion side, and to show that actually bands aren't so bad, and we do a lot of work for our communities too. So I can't. Do you know what? I can't even remember how this idea of doing a marathon. I think my original idea was actually to do 12 hours, but it was that girl Sharon, who's our secretary of Ulster Accordion Bands. I put it to her. I says, "What about a 12-hour accordion marathon to raise money for charity?" And she says, 12 hours, it's child's play. She says, it has to be 24 hours minimum.
Right, okay.
She was angling for more. Right. So I says, okay, 24 hours, grand.
So it's like Le Bons for accordion bands.
So yeah, and we couldn't do, obviously. We thought what we were thinking originally. I suppose to start on Saturday and run it in, but then you couldn't, because then it's Sunday and stuff. Yeah. So we had to then put it, but it'll probably work out well, because you get a bit of the Friday night, and then you've all day on the Saturday.
As well.
Then you've a band parade in the local area on Saturday night. So if people aren't done with bands after the 24 hours,
wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, hopefully I can maybe make an appearance there. That would be great for us to maybe get down and be a part of that.
There's a lot of great people. There's great stories, and there's a lot of older people in the accordion band scene who are still there, still involved.
Oh, happy days. No, that sounds great.
Free to talk
so, and then obviously you'll be parading and stuff with your own band, throughout the year and stuff anyway. Yes. Are you already well booked in terms of what's coming up for you parade-wise?
Last year, we did 73 engagements. So, yes, the Birches is...
Sounds like you're almost putting in as many miles as all the March videos.
It's extreme, and that's more than... twice, well, it's not more than twice a week, but it's it's
a considerable
amount of weeks. It's more than there is weeks in the year, is what I meant to say. Yeah. So our first parade's actually on Monday.
Okay.
Our last parade was in December, on the 8th. Was it on the 18th this year? So it was a Sunday parade anyway, for the shutting of the gates to the market in Lurgan. Yeah. But yes, back to it on Monday, and then we sort of kick off.
Right. And where are you parading? Were you in Armagh or somewhere? Or
Armagh,
for St. Patrick's Day, dead on.
Yeah.
Good. What's that parade like?
It's good. I like Cormaine's parade. I would say...
I love Cormaine, yeah, right. All right, dead on, yeah.
It can be hit and miss because of the time of year.
It's a short parade, though.
It's short, yeah. But it's good. It's good for breaking in. It can be cold. I'll say that because it's still March.
Well, there is that. I like it. We've done that a few times, because obviously Cormaine have been good supporters of whenever we were running parades and stuff. We really appreciate those guys coming up.
It's a well-supported parade.
Yeah, it is.
Parade in terms of the bands and all.
Yeah, definitely it is. And I think there's a constant flow. It's one of the few parades where the gaps aren't as mad, and I think that's another subject in regards to gaps and parades and stuff. Yeah. But no, because the route is a short route and stuff, it feels like it's, sooner started than, you're like, oh, is that it?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It took us longer getting down there than parading around the route, and then you're on your way home again. But no, God, right enough. Cormaine's parade. Well, hope you have a good night down there at that there. So
okay, I'm actually looking forward to it. Although I have one problem. When did I last have my uniform on? It wasn't that. I was at a...
Listen, don't talk to me. Don't even talk to me.
That was not good. Like, it can button, but only just.
Right, well, listen.
Our buttons aren't double-breasted, unfortunately, so I can't just move the buttons as a tunic. I'm just going to have to get to the gym.
Well, and that's part and parcel of, I suppose something that's a wider issue in terms of, because I know there's been a lot of talk even about the likes of even the Belfast 12 fitness elements and, the extreme kind of thing, that 12 miles and even beyond that. Because
you should be able to do that, no problem.
But I mean, even at that there, but I mean, I think some of us clocked 17 miles last 12, you know what I mean? And that's, you talk about enjoying a day. you know, and the feet are walked right off you.
Aye.
You know what I mean? And you kind of get the end of your feet are just absolutely just throbbing as a result of the fact that you go. Because I don't think, I mean, there's none of us would have walked 17 miles, you know, in terms of, or even done anything in terms of prepping up for that kind of distance and stuff. You know what I mean? I think we need to think seriously about that. You know, you even think about older members of lodges and stuff like that there, and maybe the only real serious walk that they get is that big long parade. Like, I mean, that's just putting things.
I could do with flipping doing that route 12 mile every day until I get back.
Well, listen, what you mentioned, you were in Portadown. You were saying about Portadown. One of the things I had tried to get on and haven't been able to do it was we did do a Fit the March program with Portadown Defenders.
Okay.
So we did a whole thing with them that we had a personal trainer and stuff with them, and they were doing things like they were marking time and playing and stuff while they had resistance bands on their knees and stuff like this here, and doing all sorts of walking exercises. It was about a year and a bit back we did that, and but we did some stuff around increasing the quality of the relationships with each other. So we had like circles, because I'm from a restorative practice background, you know, connecting through circles every week, doing some fitness stuff together, and doing like marching related exercises, so that they had that. We had like constant walks, and then we had like a Strava challenge, you know, who could put in the most, you know, in terms of kilometers each week and stuff like that. It really worked out well, and I think it's something that bonds probably could consider in terms of doing that, you know. But they did it in their close season, because they closed down for a bit, and then in terms of saying, well, listen, it could be 3 or 4 months before we're back in contact with each other. And it was a way of them making sure that in their closed season that they stayed together. Yes. We had a cracking turnout for that program, and I think if you talk to anybody, you know, in that there, that they really enjoyed that. And I think I'm looking to get another group up and running here in Belfast, because the Belfast City Council will give me some money to run a Fit the March program, specifically because it
definitely flipping do it for us anyway.
Well, listen, if you're up for it, or we could get something going. Do you know what I mean? So. But listen, Ewan, absolutely delighted to have had you on, and to have heard a wee bit about your own band history, but also how you've used that to kind of form Ulster Accordion bands and try and do something positive for your own kind of genre of band and stuff, and bringing people together. I think that's absolutely, so it's great to hear, and I wish you every success for it in the future. And as I say, I'm not just saying it, but I will get to one. I'll get to one of the events and stuff, and you know,
we'll down to that boxathon thing, and I'll get you set up.
We'll get a wee booth area set up with a green screen and all. We'll get people on and sharing their stories.
The good thing about that hall's great, and we used it last year. There's 2 rooms, you see.
Okay.
One that you can have the performance in, and then another one that you can have. We had different stalls and stuff in there.
Yeah.
Bands for them and that.
Brilliant.
You know.
Well, happy days. Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you taking the time out to come down and talk to us on Made the Parade, man. Obviously, been a fantastic wee conversation there, man. And I look forward to hearing more about what you are doing as the year goes on and stuff. So, folks, there you go. That's the end of another episode of the Made the Parade podcast. I hope you enjoyed that. And it's always good to branch out and focus on different aspects of the band scene and stuff. So, until the next episode, look after yourselves and take it easy.